Hey guys, Biggie here, and welcome to another Skyrim Special Edition Wabbajack Modlist Quick Look, quote-unquote Quick Look, because this might be a little bit longer of a video. But this time we have Aldrnari, which is notorious for being Skyrim's, or at least on Wabbajack, the largest mod list. Combined with the download and installation, you're looking at about 600 gigs. But once the downloads are complete and the installation is done and you delete all the miscellaneous files, it's about 315 gigabytes. So still quite a large list. And we are playing on version 2.2 for Skyrim Special Edition. It does not require Anniversary Edition, or at least not the paid version of Anniversary Edition, nor, as I was reading through everything, nor does the author plan to make it include the Anniversary Edition, at least not anytime soon. So obviously that's subject to change. Now, one thing I was going to do actually, which normally I leave this for the end, but I didn't want people to miss it because this is a larger list, and so I got to talk about who this list is or is not for, just so people who end up not liking this list don't spend a lot of time downloading it and then turned out that they hate the list or it doesn't meet their expectations or something. So who this list is for: definitely if you are into the power fantasy style. This mod list does have NIRIM, which we'll talk about later, has MCO, so you're going to have some of the latest and greatest combat mods. It has a few added difficulty things and some optional things that we'll talk about as well, just to make the game a little bit more difficult. But in the end, being a power fantasy, the end game for this mod list, you will be very strong and be taking out a lot of enemies in some pretty cinematic combat fights and whatnot. And there are just a few little difficulty things added early on, like the Elder Scrolls menu and enemies being able to use potions efficiently, things like that, that'll make the early game a little bit harder. Also, pretty much every single aspect of this game is touched on, from the perks to the magic to the character models to the cities. Everything is going to be revamped, updated. The graphics are going to be upscaled, things of that nature. And if you want a ton of content, this is going to have tons and tons of quests for you to be able to explore. Now, who this list isn't for: obviously, if you don't like any or some of those things that I said, if some of those are deal breakers for you, if you want to stick to Skyrim lore, you don't want added content, added new quests, if you don't have enough space on your system, because there are some people who I know their entire hard drive or solid state drive might only be 500 gigs or less, and they won't even be able to install this list. Obviously, it won't be for you. The other thing, though, and this is, things like this change all the time. And I remember playing the old version of Aldnari a couple years ago, and it's definitely changed a lot since then. And as the mod list progresses, I'm sure things will get fixed and updated. But in its current state, in the version 2.2, which I'm playing, I have noticed quite a few graphical issues, as well as a fair bit of crashes. So enough that, it's noteworthy. Typically, if a mod list is kind of an alpha or beta list, that's kind of to be expected. But there are a noteworthy amount of crashes. So if you're expecting a full playthrough without any crashes or bugs or errors, you are bound to experience some. That all out of the way, let's delve into what this mod list has to offer, and there is a lot of it. So starting off with the character customization, the answer to most things in this mod list, does it have X mod? The answer is probably yes. Hairstyles to choose from: you're going to have 1,469 female hairstyles, which is a crazy amount. they range from things that you know, have HD PT. You have some that have physics, some that don't, some the static hair. The beast races too. This is probably the most customizability I've seen on Argonians. With 227 Argonian hairstyle slash scales slash skull on the head things to choose from. And Khajiits. Now the Khajiits are especially cool. I was looking at the male Khajiits, and you can actually have just a straight up lion mane, which is really awesome. I like that a lot. I like it so much that we will actually we won't choose Khajiit because I wanted to show you guys another mod that this has. We'll choose Dunmer, and we can be a female Dunmer. Why not? Not really any presets here. There's this one. I'm not sure what that is. But let us go with our Dunmer. And now this is a very unique race mod that it adds. Basically, this is from Palladium racials, where, and Dunmers have the most, so I wanted to showcase the Dunmer for this reason. You have different, there's kind of sub-races, I guess, for each race. Some of them don't have any, or some of them only have one or two options. But for example, you can start as a Dunmer, as House Dress, and let's choose Ralof, House Indoril, Redoran, Talvani, Hlalu. You can have some of the different Ashlander tribes as well, which is pretty crazy. There's a lot of different things. I think the High Elves, you can choose a regular High Elf, or you can choose a Snow Elf, I think. Things like that. Orc, you can choose regular Orc or a Wood Orc. So these all have different abilities and passives. So for example, with Redoran being the melee focused of the houses, you're going to start with some more health and stamina, I believe, but less magicka. So go check out that mod page. It's called, like I said, Palladium. That's Palladium racials. Really cool mod, and as always, I'll link the load order to this list down below. And I remember liking Hlalu, because look at this Shadow Step. Melee attacks used from a distance while stealth will transport you behind the target. That's crazy. So you can be just a crazy attack speed doesn't do anything for MCO. We'll just do on. You can choose whether or not to regenerate health. And you do have Quick Light, which is pretty cool because the dungeons are pretty dark. And depending on which house you start with, you can also have some additional starting gear. So we have, obviously, our Morag Tong, our Morrowind version of the Dark Brotherhood assassin gear. So we are already styling as we get ready for our adventure here. Now, I'll spend some time, we'll get into a little bit of combat, and then I'll take you around the various holds while I talk about everything this list has. Oh, and here we have Winter Sun Fates, always Azura 100% of the time. So here we can see the rain, but I will actually try to wait out the rain. There we go. That was just very, very loud. Hi, Ralof. So as you can see, the NPCs are going to be overhauled. Pretty much all of them, and it's just a mixture of different NPC mods. I think a lot of them, if I'm not mistaken, are Modpocalypse, with some others thrown in. And let's take a look at the MCM. Like I said, we have the Dark Souls menu. Just realized I might have called it an Elder Scrolls menu earlier. Things that you can change and things to worry about. Obviously, Winter Sun Fates, you can tweak that if you really want. But the main things we're going to be focusing on, ultimate immersion toggle, I usually leave it as X by default. True directional movement for your target lock. The default is G. We're going to make it mouse 5. Wizard Warrior. So this is essentially being able to use different spells honed with your weapon. And you have to unlock a perk later on in, I believe, the destruction tree to be able to use it. Pretty cool. Like I said, you're going to have a lot of those different combat mods. Taunt your enemies. You basically get, you can hotkey this to a specific hotkey, like we can use G, which we just had as our target lock. And it'll leave you vulnerable for a second, but make you able to do more damage against enemies. Take a peek, being able to see through lockpicks to see what's on the other side of the door. Locks, sorry, not lockpicks. You do have experience combined with static skill leveling in this mod list. Obviously, you're going to have smooth cam, and you have quite a few presets here. Modern preset, Souls-like. Let's go with modern preset. You are obviously going to want to keybind things like potions, or at least favorite them. Sacrosanct from Skyrim. You have Lucian. We'll go over a lot more of these. Diverse dragons. And then you have your bow charge. So holding a bow and the bow combo. Basically, we've seen this a few other times. But you hold your bow. And you can charge it up to 3 times. Usually lets you charge it 3 times. Let's see. I think you maybe only get 1 charge in this list. But you can right click to shoot faster, but you do less damage. Let's God mode it up just for testing purposes as we take out some bandits. So yeah, in Skyrim you're going to have Ordinator for perks, along with a few additional perks per level. I believe once every 5 levels you get an extra perk point. And then you have, we saw Sacrosanct Vampires, Winter Sun Faiths, Andromeda for stones, and a few others.
Someone's gonna get hurt, all right. I'll try and make this quick.
You have Apothecary for alchemy. You also have Dodge.
I'll have you on a bike.
And you kind of have dual block. It works for using 2 melee weapons, but not for spell sorting. So you hold your regular right click for melee weapons to block, but if you were to use a spell in one hand... Oh my god, this guy really likes to block. It's
Fool to test me. Last mistake.
Oh, this guy is nuts. Let's take a look at some spells. Now, here's one other thing you're going to have. So we'll cast our flames, but it'll stop. That's because there's a mod called Fizzle.
Pay for this.
Here, let's clear this guy out first. So there's a mod called Fizzle, and basically if you are, I believe, under level 20 for novice spells, then you have a chance to fail the spell. Kind of like if anyone watching has played Morrowind, how you had a chance to fail casting your spell. It's kind of in that same system. And from playing it myself, it seems to more so happen, I feel like, on these cost per second spells. You'll almost always get interrupted after a second or 2. And then if you guys see here, the NPCs have underwear on them. That's because this Modlist by default, it does have nudity, I believe, just for females. But you can optionally turn that on so that The NPCs will have underwear if you're streaming or just want to keep it safe for work.
Yeah?
Now, graphically, just on a pure texture level, lighting, things like that, this is a gorgeous list. But let's go to daytime. And we'll kind of see a few things that I noticed here and there that are maybe a little bit inconsistent. And like I said, I'm sure they'll get patched in the future. But I did notice the watercolor is very, very blue. Whereas a lot of the world, I mean, I guess it is a little bit more vibrant than most lists, but most things aren't so much. Most things are kind of the regular Skyrim color. But the water is very blue, and then you have some issues with the water lods, as we just saw there. Let's kind of just explore around. Now there are 253 with the underwear mod enabled. I'm not sure if it was an ESL, to be honest, but there's 253 ESP/ESMs and 2,016 active plugins. So in terms of customizability, you're really going to need to know what you're doing to be able to customize this mod list. And like I said before, 254 is the absolute maximum for active plugins. So if you really wanted to throw one follower mod in that you really can't live without, I suppose you could do so at your own discretion. But unless you know how to merge ESPs or flag them as ESLs and create your own patches, I don't recommend adding to this list, as once you get over 254, your game will break.
What? What is it now, Mother?
It was as big as the
I always see Riverwood has a few little additions, like the smelter. Then you have little
Dragons now,
cats.
is it? Please, Mother. If you keep on like this, everyone in town will think you're crazy. And I've got better things to do than listen to more of your...
Even the children are overhauled, and they have their little...
Yourself.
oh wow, look at Stump. Stump is going nuts. He has a little dagger. That's adorable. We can actually get him to follow us. Hey, we have our little Stump follower with a lantern.
You look like a traveler. Someone that has seen faraway places and heard new stories.
And so you're also going to have a lot of different dialogue options for NPCs.
Ain't used to strangers here in Riverwood. What can I do for you?
Let's take a look at the interior. And just tons and tons and tons of DLC size quests, like I was mentioning. You have Vigilant, Worm's Tooth, Unslad, the Forgotten City, Beyond Reach.
Aldnari.
Two notable ones that are not included
What is it, woman?
are
Going bad. We need to get a new.
Legacy of the Dragonborn.
Did you hear me?
But in place of Legacy of the Dragonborn, there are tons of things to
Make sure we get a fresh batch.
explore and loot. Tons of hand-placed unique items. And then you don't have Beyond Skyrim Bruma either. Oh, who's attacking? What is going on over here? Oh, it's just a wolf.
What was that?
Oh,
What's going on?
saw my my ancestor came to fight. Now, a lot of the size of this mod list is due to the music overhaul. Unfortunately, I can't really play a lot of the music because some of it is going to be copyrighted. So if I try to play the mod list with the music enabled, there's a good chance that YouTube flags it. but you can check that on the load order. The entire soundtrack has been overhauled. Here we have Riverwood Cottage, including the main menu. This Modlist has one of the craziest main menu soundtracks ever. It's really awesome. Oh, look at the... what the heck? Why are you guys after me? What did I do? What? Let's get rid of this guy. I didn't even do anything to you. Well, that's not my fault. These guys look like proper Roman soldiers.
I've been wounded worse by better.
Even the prisoner is... wait, why do you not like me?
I'm on fire.
I don't think you're on fire, man.
That's your best.
I wonder if it's because we have the Morag Tong stuff on. Let's switch to this. That was a little weird. Now, obviously, with MCO, it's going to force you to be in third-person combat. If you try to be in first person at all after a few seconds, it will kick you out. And so you have a quick loot. You have a lot of lush foliage. Now, performance-wise, on my 3080 Ti, I get really good frames, actually. Like, really good frames. We do run really quick. But I haven't had really any FPS issues, and I'm not using DLSS either. What the heck?
Set anything on fire,
Well,
all
that's
right?
taken care of. No thanks to you.
So this is kind of what I mean. If you
Fight with
if
us
you're
and
a
you'll have
lore
stories to tell.
purist,
Come up to your Vasker. If
you might
we're
not like
looking
this
in a
list.
fight.
You do end up having a lot of things just kind of happening at once. And also, you have the every NPC is named. Pretty much every NPC. The bandits are named. Here we have some graphical issues with the grass. A few additions to Whiterun.
The roads of Skyrim lead to many dangers. The wind blows bitter cold.
As we just kind of explore everything. Happy. Oh my god, it's raining again. That is loud. That is very, very loud lightning. Can it stop raining for a second? Thank you. But I've noticed that you have these in pretty much every city. You have these hanging bodies.
Do you seek to make a purchase?
In Markarth, they're forsworn, things like that. And we have some random floating skulls and whatnot. I know for a fact we won't... actually, we might be able to go into...
Halt! City's closed, or else what? You think you can stand against the Whiterun City Guard?
No, but
It's
I can teleport inside. How about that? You also have a lot of vanilla quest expansion mods like J Serpa's and a lot of others. And tons of new enemies. You have a lot of the Mihail's monster mods, as well as Skyrim immersive creatures,
I just can't
and a
throw
few
an
others,
order
but
that size on my own.
probably more than any other list. You're going to run into a lot of new enemy types, which is pretty cool.
Of course you don't.
Isolde has a nice little dress on.
Before I knock you senseless.
And then you have some unique NPCs. You have the
Finest
Bosmer
cuts, fresh from the wild.
with horns. Now the cities are going to be a mixture. of great towns and cities of the north.
But we can't afford
And then I know there's some of the JK's interiors.
No lollygagging.
You have also a very nice world map. Let us go to Solitude. I feel like Solitude always gives a good representation of the NPCs because they're all gathered in one place to take a look at Rogvir getting his head lobbed off.
They can't hurt Uncle Rogvir. Tell them he didn't do it.
Positions.
Sorry, you need to go home.
Oh wow, Captain Aldis has really cool armor. But his beard is
You
kind of
betrayed
flipping through.
You should tell her that her uncle is scum that betrayed his high king. Best she know now, Advar.
Jeez, Lisette.
Rogvir, you helped
Aren't you
Ulfric's
cold?
Stormcloak escape
This
the
is
city
Solitude.
after he murdered High King Tori. I opened
You actually have some pink roofs on the building tops, as well as some pink Imperial cloaks. I think that might just be from the ENB or some lighting stuff. Blue Palace is fairly blue. You'll love to see it. So like I said, it's a lot of things are more vibrant than normal Skyrim, but some things kind of look
another quiet day.
close-ish to the Skyrim tone, so it's kind of a mixed match. Got some new statues here and there.
Citizen?
And then obviously the guards for each hold are going to have some pretty unique armor. Let's go check out Morthal. We don't normally go to Morthal. You have obviously the new loading screens as well. Now the loading times are going to be a little bit more just because of the size of the lists. So I won't edit those out. Okay, so you have a few new structures here and there, or new added
What's the Jarl going to
assets.
do about it?
How are we supposed to feel safe in our own homes?
Please, enough already. I have told Igrid of your concerns. She'll look after you all. Please. go
The
about your
NPC
business.
faces look pretty good
No
though.
need for wizards in our
Some of them kind of have a little bit more fantasy hairstyles.
How can I help?
I'm not saying specifically that NPC was a fantasy hairstyle, but I'm just saying I've noticed a few NPCs have a little bit, maybe not as lore-friendly hair. Alright, let's check out another city. Let's go to Falkreath. Falkreath in these city expansions has been one of my new favorites. Just because normally it's such a tiny little town that you wouldn't even think it's a hold capital. But then you have these crazy expansions. So the guard armor. That just adds so much depth to it. You do have some new horse breeds.
I don't know. Falkreath's warriors always return, one way or another.
A goat. You also have a fluff works, which makes the animals a lot fluffier, more detailed.
What do you want?
Jeez. You got something floating around you. I really like this tree especially. It's like a willow or something. Yeah, a lot of new expansions. And you can see from pretty far away, you have a lot of polarity. Let's round it out with Windhelm. Let's go to Anga's Mill and then walk towards Windhelm. And then I'll just recap. Like I said, if you guys want just a ton of content, you have a pretty decent PC. Like I said, I have a 3080 Ti. But if you have anything similar, or maybe a little bit lower of a graphics card, I'm sure a 3070, maybe even 2070 could handle it just fine, especially if you got DLSS. You'd be able to handle this list, and you want a nice power fantasy list with a lot of content. MCO, the latest and greatest combat mods, with, of course, new animations, swing speeds, things like that, dodging. Let's take a look at just the like a dagger. It's not crazy swing speeds, honestly. This counts as a dagger, right? Yeah. So all of that in an NI Rim list. You will like this mod list, especially a lot of people don't like Legacy of the Dragonborn, myself included. On there you have some unique loot. So you might like this list, or if you don't want Creation Club stuff, this is a good alternative. But if you, like I said, if this is too much for you, if you don't have the space to install the list in the first place, that might be an issue for some people. Or if, you know, you can't handle some instability when playing the list, which, like I said, might change in the future. We will see. I know Aldnari has been out for a while. Oh, you have a lot of health. I'm just going to kill all. We're actually going the wrong way. Windhelm exterior. There we go. Yeah, if you guys are bothered by some of the visual things, the visual glitches, which, like I said, those things get patch fixed. The LODs, I'm sure, will get fixed at some point, as well as some of the other issues, just kind of as they get reported.
I've been instructed to tell all visitors.
All right, yeah, that's a cool story. I want to check that out.
Take a good look around. I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for. If not, let me know.
So look at that.
Store it away.
That's a crazy expansion to the docks. That's a lot of birds. Holy. That is a lot of birds. And you have some vendors. But yeah, some stuff kind of floating.
There's no fairness in all that.
This is Stormcloak territory. If you're one of those craven Imperials, don't expect a
Wow, that's just messed up. This is just wrong. Come on. I think this goes a little too far.
Need something?
Come on. Hopefully this video was helpful to you guys. And I will catch you guys next time.